Ah, look who just cracked the vault. Welcome back, you beautiful code breakers, system glitchers, reality hackers who just did the one thing they spent billions, no, trillions, trying to prevent. You exposed it, didn't you? Not with a megaphone, not with a movement, not with some viral campaign. No, you did something far more dangerous. You existed in a way that revealed the lie, the entire structure, the whole illusion they built to keep you controllable, predictable, profitable. And now they're scrambling, panicking, holding emergency meetings at 3 a.m. because one person, you, just shattered what cost them everything to hide. You want to know what's really happening right now? While you're watching this, there are boardrooms going silent. There are executives staring at screens, refreshing data that doesn't make sense anymore. There are algorithms choking, systems malfunctioning, predictions failing. Because somewhere in the code, in the patterns, in the carefully constructed matrix of control, you appeared, not as a glitch, but as proof. Proof that the entire system was a fabrication. Proof that what they sold as reality was just a very expensive, very fragile illusion. And you didn't need a degree, didn't need a platform, didn't need permission. You just stopped playing along. And that was the billion-dollar threat they never prepared for. Let me tell you what they don't want you to realize. Everything, every single institution, every narrative, every crisis, every solution, it's theater, billion-dollar theater designed to keep you in a state of perpetual reaction. They don't want you thinking. They want you triggered. They don't want you questioning. They want you consuming. They don't want you sovereign. They want you subscribed, medicated, distracted, chasing solutions to problems they invented. But you stopped mid-script, didn't you? You looked around at the stage, saw the wires, noticed the actors reading from teleprompters, felt the manipulation in real time. And the moment you did, the moment you refused to react on cue, the entire production started falling apart. They spent billions building the walls, but you found the door they forgot to lock. Not because you're special, but because you stopped believing you weren't. You stopped asking for validation from systems designed to withhold it. You stopped waiting for permission from authorities who derive power from your obedience. You stopped playing a game rigged against you and started writing new rules. And that is the unforgivable act. Because if one person can step outside the script and thrive, if one soul can reject the programming and still succeed, still smile, still evolve, then the whole facade crumbles. And they know it. They feel it. They're watching it happen in real time. Through data they can't manipulate anymore. Here's what they're panicking about right now. You're not angry in the way they can monetize. You're not desperate in the way they can exploit. You're not confused in the way they can redirect. You've gone quiet, calculated, observant. You've stopped feeding the beast, stopped clicking the bait, stopped reacting to the fear they manufacture daily. And without your attention, without your energy, without your compliance, the machine starts dying. Billion-dollar industries built on your insecurity, your anxiety, your need to fit in, they're losing power. Not because you're fighting them, but because you stopped needing what they're selling. You became the worst kind of threat, immune. They tried everything, didn't they? They tried shaming you back into line. They tried guilt, told you that your silence was privilege, your boundaries were selfishness, your peace was ignorance. They sent people, agents disguised as friends, lovers, mentors, all programmed with the same mission: get you back on script, make you doubt yourself, make you question your instincts, make you believe that your clarity was confusion. But it didn't work, did it? Because you'd already seen too much. You'd already felt the difference between their noise and your truth. You'd already tasted freedom, and there's no going back from that. Once you know, you can't unknow. Once you see, you can't unsee. You know what's fascinating? They spent billions hiding a secret so simple it sounds ridiculous when you say it out loud. You don't need them. That's it. That's the whole thing. You don't need their approval, their products, their systems, their solutions. You don't need to be fixed, upgraded, optimized, or saved. You're not broken. You were never broken. You were just convinced you were, so you'd keep buying the cure. They built entire economies on your belief that you're insufficient. And the moment you stopped believing it, the moment you stood in your raw, unfiltered, unapologetic existence and said, "I'm enough," their entire empire started cracking. Because you are the resource they've been mining, and you just cut off their access. Here's the part that really terrifies them. You're not alone. You think you are, but you're not. There are thousands, hundreds of thousands waking up the same way you did. Quietly, privately, without announcement. People who stopped arguing on the internet and started building in silence. People who stopped begging for change and started becoming it. People who realized the system doesn't break from the outside. It collapses from the inside when enough people simply stop participating. And they can feel it. The shift, the exodus, the mass awakening that no propaganda can reverse. They're losing control, and they know it. And the panic is setting in because all the money in the world can't buy back a mind that's freed itself. Let's go deeper, because this is where it gets beautiful. They tried to make you believe that power lives in institutions, in governments, in corporations, in celebrities, in experts. But you discovered the truth. Power lives in attention. Whoever controls attention controls reality. And for decades, they controlled yours. They told you what to fear, what to want, what to believe, when to panic, when to celebrate. They curated your emotional state like a playlist, and you danced. But then you stopped. You withdrew your attention, your energy, your belief. And without it, they're just people in expensive suits yelling into a void, desperate for you to look back, to react, to validate their authority. But you won't, will you? Because you've found something they can never offer: yourself. They called you crazy for questioning. They called you paranoid for noticing patterns. They called you unstable for refusing to accept contradictions as truth. And for a while, maybe you believed them. Maybe you thought something was wrong with you for seeing what others refused to see. But then you realized they weren't calling you crazy because you were wrong. They were calling you crazy because you were right. And your rightness was a threat to their control. So they pathologized your clarity, medicalized your resistance, labeled your awakening as a disorder. Because if you're sick, you need their cure. If you're broken, you need their fix. But you're neither sick nor broken. You're awake. And that's the one condition they have no treatment for. You want to know why they're in full panic mode? because you're doing something they never expected. You're thriving without them. You're not just surviving, you're building, creating, evolving outside their ecosystem. You're not waiting for their permission to live the life you want. You're not subscribing to their timeline of success. You're not measuring your worth by their metrics. You've gone rogue, and worse, you're happy, you're peaceful, you're free. And that image, that living proof that their system is optional, that's more dangerous than any revolution. Because revolutions can be infiltrated, but a soul at peace with itself, sovereign and untouchable, that can't be stopped, bought, or controlled. Here's what they don't want you to know. Every institution you were taught to trust, every authority you were raised to obey, every expert you were conditioned to believe, they're all part of the same network. Not a conspiracy in the shadows, but a system operating in plain sight. They don't need secret meetings when they all profit from the same structure. Keep you sick, they profit. Keep you scared, they profit. Keep you confused, they profit. Keep you divided, they profit. It's not personal, it's business. You're not a citizen to them. You're a consumer. You're not a person. You're a data point. And the moment you realize that, the moment you stopped being a willing participant in your own exploitation, you became the enemy. Let me tell you what happened when you exposed it. Not the moment you posted about it, not when you spoke about it, but the moment you embodied it, the moment you stopped arguing and started living differently, the moment you stopped trying to wake others up and just became the example. That's when the panic started. Because they can debate ideas, they can censor information, they can discredit voices, but they can't argue with a life well lived. They can't cancel peace. They can't ban sovereignty. They can't regulate freedom. And when people see you, truly see you, living proof that their system is a choice, not a requirement, the programming starts glitching. The matrix starts lagging. They tried to buy you back, didn't they? Not with money, but with comfort. They offered you convenience, entertainment, distraction. They made it easier to stay asleep than to stay awake. They designed a world where resistance requires effort and compliance requires nothing, where truth is work and lies are entertainment, where health is expensive and sickness is subsidized, where thinking is exhausting and believing is easy. They made waking up the hardest path, hoping you'd choose the comfort of ignorance, but you didn't. You chose the discomfort of truth, the isolation of clarity, the weight of seeing. And now you carry a burden they'll never understand, the knowledge that you can't go back. Here's the billion-dollar secret they're protecting. You're not meant to win their game. You're meant to play it forever. The degree that leads to debt, the job that barely pays it off, the promotion that costs your health, the treatment that creates new symptoms, the solution that generates new problems. It's designed that way. You're not failing their system. Their system is failing you by design. Because if you ever actually won, if you ever actually arrived, if you ever actually felt complete within their structure, you'd stop consuming, you'd stop chasing, you'd stop needing, and their entire economy collapses. So they move the goalpost, change the definition, create new crises. They keep you running on a treadmill, exhausted but going nowhere, convinced that the problem is you, not the machine. But you stopped running, didn't you? You stepped off the treadmill, and the whole room went silent. They didn't know what to do with someone who refused to chase what they were selling. They sent the usual tactics: shame, guilt, fear, comparison. They showed you everyone else, still running, still chasing, still believing. They called you lazy for resting, selfish for protecting your energy, arrogant for knowing your worth. They tried to drag you back into the race by making you feel like you were losing, but you weren't losing, you were leaving. And there's a difference they'll never admit. One means you failed, the other means the game was never worth playing. You know what the elites fear most? Not revolution, not rebellion, not protest. They fear indifference. They fear the moment you stop caring about their approval, their trends, their crises, their narratives. Because their power is performative, it only exists if you're watching. They need your attention to survive, your belief to thrive, your participation to dominate. But the moment you turn away, the moment you stop validating their authority with your focus, they become irrelevant. And irrelevance is death to those who built empires on being seen. You didn't fight them. You didn't argue with them. You just stopped looking. And that's the most powerful rebellion there is. Let's talk about the ones who came back. The people who tried to leave the system, got scared, and returned. The ones who saw the truth, felt the weight of it, and chose the comfort of the lie. They're the ones panicking the most right now, because they see you, still out here, still free, still thriving, and it reminds them of what they gave up. They traded their sovereignty for security, their truth for acceptance, their peace for approval, and now they're stuck watching you live the life they were too afraid to claim. They want you to fail, not because they hate you, but because your success is proof of their cowardice. Your freedom is a mirror they can't look into without seeing their own cage. Here's what they don't tell you about waking up. It's not a one-time event. It's a process. You don't just see the lie once and you're free. You see it everywhere, in everything, constantly. Every commercial, every news story, every social interaction, you see the manipulation, the agenda, the programming, and it's exhausting. You can't unsee it. You can't turn it off. You can't go back to blissful ignorance. This is the cost they don't mention. The loneliness of clarity, the isolation of truth, because most people are still asleep, still plugged in, still defending the system that's destroying them. And you're awake in a world that punishes awareness, but you chose it anyway, because slavery disguised as comfort is still slavery. They're scrambling right now because you're not following the script. You were supposed to comply, consume, and eventually collapse. You were supposed to burn out, give up, fade away. That's the trajectory they designed, the path they paved, the future they predicted. But you deviated. You healed when you were supposed to break. You questioned when you were supposed to obey. You thrived when you were supposed to survive. And now their algorithms don't know what to do with you. Their predictions are failing. Their models are broken because you're the anomaly, the outlier, the data point that doesn't fit. And one anomaly, that's an error. But thousands, that's a pattern. And patterns they can't control terrify them. Let me tell you what you really exposed. Not a conspiracy, not a secret society, not some hidden cabal. You exposed something far simpler and far more dangerous. You exposed that the emperor has no clothes, that the system only works if we believe in it, that authority is a collective hallucination we're all agreeing to see. You stopped agreeing. You withdrew your consent, your belief, your participation, and in doing so, you revealed that the whole thing is optional, that we give them power, they don't take it, that we build their empires with our compliance, our labor, our attention. And the moment enough people realize that, the moment enough minds withdraw their consent, the entire structure collapses. Not through violence, not through protest, but through mass awakening and quiet refusal. They spent billions building prisons that don't look like prisons. They gave you a phone and called it freedom. They gave you options and called it choice. They gave you debt and called it opportunity. They gave you distraction and called it entertainment. They gave you pills and called it health care. They built a cage so comfortable you'd forget you were trapped. So entertaining you'd forget to escape. So familiar you'd defend it from anyone trying to free you. But you saw the bars, didn't you? You felt the walls closing in. You recognized the cage even when everyone else called it home. And you walked out, not because you were rebellious, but because you remembered what freedom felt like. Here's the part they're really panicking about. You're teaching others just by existing. You didn't write a book. You didn't start a movement. You didn't build a platform. You just lived differently, and people noticed. They saw your peace and got curious. They saw your boundaries and got inspired. They saw your refusal to participate in the chaos and started questioning their own participation. You became a walking example that another way is possible. And examples are contagious. They can ban information, they can censor voices, they can control narratives, but they can't ban a life well lived. They can't censor freedom embodied. They can't control the inspiration that spreads when one person remembers who they are. You know what's beautiful? They thought controlling information would control you. They thought if they owned the media, the schools, the platforms, they'd own your mind. And for a while, it worked. But then you did something they didn't account for. You started trusting yourself more than you trusted them. You started listening to your body more than their experts. You started following your intuition more than their instructions. You became your own authority. And that's the crack in their foundation, because their entire system is built on you doubting yourself, on you believing you need them to interpret reality for you. The moment you trusted your own perception, the moment you validated your own experience, you became untouchable. Let me tell you what happens next. They'll try to normalize it, try to co-opt it, try to sell it back to you. They'll create awakening products, freedom, subscriptions, sovereignty, courses. They'll take the language of liberation and turn it into marketing. They'll hire influencers to perform consciousness while selling you the same chains with different branding. They'll try to make waking up another trend you can consume, another identity you can buy, another aesthetic you can perform. But you'll see through it, won't you? Because you know the difference between real freedom and performed freedom. You know the difference between actual peace and packaged peace. You can't be sold what you've already become. Here's the truth they're desperately hiding. You don't need fixing. You need unfixing. You don't need more information. You need to unlearn the lies. You don't need to be built up. You need to be stripped down to what's real. Every program, every system, every structure they created was designed to layer you with conditioning, with beliefs that aren't yours, with desires that were planted. Funny, isn't it? How they all walk around pretending, acting, putting on their best faces, like dolls in a twisted little game. But you're different, aren't you? You don't wear a mask because you're weak. No, no, no. You wear it because you're dangerous. They look at you and see what you let them see. A smile, a nod, maybe even a little laugh to keep them comfortable. But behind that, behind that is something they don't understand. And what people don't understand, they fear. That's the beauty of it. The moment they think they've figured you out, snap, you change, you twist, you become something else entirely. Unpredictability is power. They spend their whole lives trying to fit into little boxes. Good, bad, strong, weak. Ha! But you refuse to be labeled. You are chaos wrapped in silence, a storm hidden beneath calm waters. They call it deception, I call it strategy. Because the second they can't read you, they can't plan against you. They don't know whether to shake your hand or run. And that is your greatest weapon. The world loves its labels, doesn't it? Weak, strong, good, evil. They slap names on people like price tags at a bargain sale, thinking they've figured it all out. But what they don't realize is that the real power lies with the ones they can't label, the ones who don't fit, the ones who slip through the cracks like smoke in a burning room. They need to believe they have it all under control, that their little rules and definitions make the world a safe, predictable place. It helps them sleep at night, thinking they can look at you and know who you are. But you're not here to make them comfortable. You're here to remind them that the scariest thing in the world is the unknown. So you play along, you nod, you smile, you let them think you're just another predictable little piece on their chessboard. But deep down, you know the truth. You're not a pawn. You're the shadow moving across the board, the hand that knocks the whole damn game to the floor when they least expect it. They think they're smart, analyzing you like some kind of puzzle, breaking you down into little categories, trying to pin you to a wall like a butterfly in a glass case. Let them try, because while they're busy studying you, you're already 10 steps ahead. Watching, waiting. Underestimation is a beautiful thing. It's a loaded gun in your pocket, a silent blade pressed against their throats. And they don't even realize it. They think they see the whole picture, but they're blind. Because when the time comes, and you finally show them who you really are, it'll be too late. So go ahead, play the fool, play the weakling, play whatever role they need you to play. Let them think you're harmless. Let them lower their guard. And when the moment is right, rewrite the whole damn story. They look at you and think they know your story. How cute. They see the calm, the silence, the way you carry yourself like nothing in this world could ever touch you, and they assume, they assume so much. They think you had it easy. They think you were just born this way. But what they don't see, what they'll never see, is the war that made you. You've survived things that would break them in half. You've walked through fires that would have burned them to ashes, and yet here you are, still standing, still breathing, still smiling that wicked little smile, because the pain didn't destroy you, it built you. Every scar, every wound, every night spent drowning in your own darkness, those weren't signs of weakness. They were the forge, the fire, the hammer that shaped you into something they could never be. But they don't get it. Oh no, they laugh. They laugh at your silence, mock your stillness, mistake your restraint for weakness, until they push too far. until they catch a glimpse of what's really underneath that carefully crafted mask. And by then, it's already too late. Because once they've seen the monster you've kept caged, there's no putting it back. See the difference between you and them? They fear pain. They run from it. They beg for comfort, for safety, for some pathetic little illusion of control. But you welcomed the pain. You let it sink its teeth into you, let it rip you apart, and instead of crawling away, you laughed. Because you knew pain is a teacher, a sculptor, and only those who embrace it come out the other side unbreakable. They fear you now, don't they? They don't know why, but they feel it. The weight in your stare, the quiet in your presence, the way you don't flinch where others would. They don't realize that when you've already been through hell, nothing else in this world can truly scare you. And that makes you dangerous. Because what can you do to a man who has nothing left to lose? What threat holds weight to someone who has already faced the worst life had to offer and won? They'll never understand you, never, and that's fine. Because while they cling to their fragile little worlds, you walk through the ruins of your past, grinning, knowing one simple truth. Pain didn't break you, it crowned you. They like to think they've got you figured out, like you're just another predictable little soul, marching to the beat of their safe, simple world. Ha! How adorable. They watch the way you move, the way you speak, the way you pause before answering, and they try to put you in a box, try to slap a label on you. But here's the trick. They can't. Predictability is a leash. The moment they can read you, they own you. They know your next move, your weaknesses, your breaking points, and once they have that, you're just another pawn in their pathetic little game, another number, another fool playing by their rules. But when they can't read you, when your silence makes their skin crawl, that's when the fun begins. See, when they don't know if you're a friend or a threat, if you'll laugh or lash out, if you'll shake their hand or crush their world, that's when they start to fear you. Because uncertainty breeds terror, their minds race, their hearts pound. They start second-guessing every word, every glance, every smirk you give them, and suddenly, you own them. Watch how they react, how they lean in, desperate for some kind of confirmation that they're safe. But they'll never get it. Keep them in the dark, keep them wondering. It drives them mad. They'll start making mistakes, slipping up, showing you their fears, while you give them nothing. That's how the power shifts. That's how control is taken. You've seen it before. The way their voices shake when they speak to you, the nervous laughter, the quick glances at the door like they're calculating an escape route. They don't trust you. And good. That means you're doing it right, because trust is just another chain they want to wrap around your throat. They say people fear the unknown, so become the unknown. Never let them know if the smile on your face means amusement or a warning. Never let them be sure if you're playing or plotting. The second they relax, remind them why they shouldn't, because the moment they feel safe is the moment you have them exactly where you want them. Keep them guessing, keep them uncomfortable, keep them on edge, because when they can't predict you, they can't stop you. They want you to talk. They need you to talk, to explain yourself, to spill your thoughts, to give them something, anything to work with, because words make them feel safe. Words let them dissect you, analyze you, put you in a neat little category where they can pretend to understand you. But when you say nothing, When you just stare, oh, that's when the panic sets in. Silence is a weapon, a sharp, gleaming blade that cuts deeper than any insult, any outburst, any explosion of rage. People don't fear noise. Noise is predictable, it's messy, it's human. But silence is calculated. Silence forces them to think, to second guess, to unravel in their own paranoia until they're drowning in their own damn thoughts. They'll start questioning everything. What are you hiding? What are you thinking? Are you planning something? Are you dangerous? They'll replay every conversation, every glance, every pause, looking for a clue, grasping at straws while you stand there, perfectly still. And that's power. Watch how they squirm. Watch how their confidence cracks. A man who speaks too much is a man easily figured out. But a man who gives nothing, he's a ghost, a storm waiting to break. And that uncertainty will eat them alive. You've seen it before. The nervous chuckle when they realize you're not reacting. The way they shift in their seats, glancing around, desperate for a way to fill the void. They'll volunteer information just to escape the tension. They'll start revealing their own fears, their own insecurities, just to break the silence. And all the while you're learning everything while they learn nothing. People think power is in speech, in loud voices and grand declarations. But real power is in restraint, in saying just enough or nothing at all. It forces them to come to you, to lean in, to work harder just to grasp a sliver of who you really are. Let them wonder. Let them panic. Let them run in circles inside their own minds. Because the moment they realize they can't read you, the moment they fear what you might be thinking, that's the moment you've already won. They pity you. Whisper behind your back, "He's always alone. Must be miserable." Let them think that. Let them believe solitude is suffering. That's what they fear. The silence, the stillness, the void where their distractions die. But you've made the silence your kingdom. They think loneliness is a curse. You know better. It's a forge. Fire and pressure, pain and discipline, it strips away weakness, burns off illusion, leaves only the steel of who you truly are. You walk alone, not because you have to, but because no one else is strong enough to walk with you. When you're alone, you hear things, the whispers in your mind, the instincts sharpening, the truths they drown out with noise. Most people run from those voices. They blast music, chase company, numb themselves with useless distractions just to escape. But you listen. You let those thoughts sculpt you into something dangerous. Solitude makes men dangerous. It's in the quiet that warriors sharpen their blades. It's in the dark that kings decide their next move. The lone wolf isn't lost. He isn't wandering. He's hunting, watching, calculating, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Look at the greats, the ones who changed the world. Do you think they wasted time begging for company? No. They embraced the isolation. They let the silence shape them. While the rest of the world clung to the herd, they walked their own path and made the world follow them. People fear being alone because it forces them to face themselves, to sit in the silence and see who they really are. And most can't handle that. But you thrive in it. You've stared into that abyss, smiled, and stepped forward anyway. You don't need them. You never did. That's what scares them the most. They call you cold because you don't beg for validation. They call you heartless because their absence doesn't break you. But deep down, they envy you. Because while they cling to others for strength, so let them talk. Let them misunderstand. Let them laugh at the lone wolf, because they have no idea how dangerous it is when he finally decides to move. They point at your scars like there's something to be ashamed of, like your past is a stain you should scrub away. Fools. They don't understand. Those scars, that pain, that's your armor. Every wound, every betrayal, every moment of suffering didn't break you, it built you. They want to shame you for your demons, pretend like the past should be buried, forgotten, erased. But what they don't realize is your demons don't haunt you, they serve you. You don't run from them, you own them, and that makes you untouchable. Weak men fear the dark. They hide from it, pretend it isn't there, convince themselves that light is all that matters. But you live in the dark. You breathe it, and because of that, you see things they never will. You see them for what they truly are. Weak, blind, predictable. The world belongs to those who embrace their shadows, not those who fear them. It's the ones who've suffered who understand how the game is really played. It's the ones who've been through hell who know how to survive. The ones who've lost everything, they have nothing left to fear. They whisper that you've changed, that you're not the same person anymore. Damn right. The old you, he died in the fire, and from the ashes, something stronger emerged. You're not a victim of your past, you're the product of it. And now you use it. You see, pain gives you vision. You can read a room before a single word is spoken. You can feel when someone is lying before they even know they're lying. You can smell fear, because you've lived in it, because you became what you once feared. And now they fear you. They don't know what to do with someone who doesn't break, who doesn't flinch, who looks into the abyss and smirks. They want you to be ashamed of your darkness because it makes them uncomfortable. But that's their problem, not yours. So let them talk, let them judge, let them run from their own shadows while you own yours. Because at the end of the day, it's the man who walks through the dark without fear who controls the ones still trapped in it. They laughed at you, called you weak, dismissed you like you were nothing. Every time you kept quiet, every time you stepped back, they mistook it for fear. They thought they had you figured out, just another pawn on the board, just another nameless, faceless nobody. But that was their mistake. They never saw the fire behind your silence. They never noticed how you were watching, learning, waiting. They were too busy mocking to see the monster sharpening its claws. Too blind to notice the storm building right in front of them. And then, one day, it happened. The shift. The moment they realized you weren't the same person they used to belittle. The moment they felt something different in the way you looked at them. A weight in your presence. A stillness that sent chills down their spine. By the time they finally saw it, the strength, the power, the unshakable force you'd become, it was too late. The game had already changed. The board was already flipped. And they were left behind, choking on their own underestimation. Now they stare, eyes wide, filled with something they never expected to feel toward you, fear. They remember every word they said, every joke they cracked, every time they pushed you down, thinking you'd never rise. And now, standing before them is the proof of just how wrong they were. They want to reach out now, want to apologize, want to understand. But you're too far gone, too high up. They can't touch you anymore. They lost that chance the moment they doubted you, and now they live with the regret of not seeing your worth when they had the chance. And you don't even need revenge. Their own regret is the punishment. Their own guilt will haunt them longer than any words ever could, because deep down they know they could have stood beside you. But instead, they laughed. Now they're nothing but ghosts in your past, fading echoes of a world that no longer deserves you. And as you walk away, untouchable, unstoppable, one thought lingers in their minds. We should have never underestimated. They wanted to put a label on you, a neat little box to trap you inside. Hero or villain, winner or loser, saint or monster. They needed you to be something they could understand, something they could control. But you are chaos. You are the storm that doesn't announce itself, the wildfire that refuses to burn out. You don't fit their expectations. You shatter them. You take their fragile little world and laugh as you tear through it. They thought they had you figured out, thought they knew what you'd do next, thought you played by the same rules they do, but they never realized. You don't play by the rules. You rewrite them. You bend reality to your will. That's what terrifies them the most. Not your strength, not your intelligence, not even your rage. What keeps them up at night is that they never really knew you at all. You were always 10 steps ahead, wearing masks they couldn't see through. They assumed you'd stay the same, that you'd be predictable, that you'd stay in place while they moved forward. But now they watch in disbelief as you ascend, as you rise past every limitation they placed on you, as you become something beyond their reach. You weren't made for their approval. You weren't built to be understood. You are not the product of their expectations. You are the result of your own design. Let them try to define you. Let them waste their breath debating what you are. A monster, a king, a ghost. It doesn't matter. Their words hold no weight in your world. They are spectators to a game they'll never understand. Because you are the exception to every rule, the anomaly in their system, the force that cannot be predicted, controlled, or explained. You are not what they expected. You never were. And that is your greatest power. Welcome back, you beautiful architects of revenge, you silent strategists, you patient executioners of karma. 5 years, wasn't it? 5 long years they counted as their victory, their triumph, their proof that they broke you. 1,825 days they celebrated your silence, your absence, your supposed defeat, while sipping their cheap wine and toasting to the monster they thought they buried. But here's what they didn't know, what they couldn't see, what their small minds couldn't comprehend. You weren't defeated. You were preparing. You weren't broken. You were sharpening. You weren't hiding. And oh, the meal you prepared over those 5 years, it's finally ready to be served, and they're about to choke on every single bite. let me paint you a picture they never wanted to see. A truth they spent 5 years running from. While they were out there celebrating, posting their fake victories, building their fragile little kingdoms on foundations of lies, you were in the shadows, doing something far more sinister. You were studying them, learning their patterns, memorizing their weaknesses, cataloging their fears like a hunter studying prey before the perfect strike. They thought your silence meant surrender, but it was actually reconnaissance. They thought your distance meant defeat, but it was strategic positioning. They thought your stillness meant death, but you were simply holding your breath before the plunge. And now the water's about to get very, very red. See, they made a critical mistake. The kind of mistake that ends empires, that topples kings, that rewrites entire histories. They assumed your absence meant they won, that your quiet meant you quit, that your patience meant you forgave. But you understood something they never could grasp in their desperate, mediocre little minds. Revenge isn't a dish served hot. It's not served cold either. It's served at exactly the right temperature after exactly the right amount of time. And 5 years was the perfect marinating period for the psychological demolition you've been engineering in absolute silence while they danced on what they thought was your grave. Here's what really happened during those 5 years. While they were busy forgetting you, you were busy becoming unforgettable. While they were building their reputation on quicksand, you were constructing your fortress on bedrock. While they were collecting hollow victories and empty applause, you were accumulating real power, real knowledge, real transformation. They aged 5 years and got softer, weaker, more comfortable in their delusions. You spent 5 years becoming sharper, harder, more dangerous than they could possibly imagine. The gap between who you were and who you've become, it's a chasm they'll never cross, a distance they'll never comprehend, a transformation they'll never replicate. And now they're starting to feel it, aren't they? That subtle shift in the atmosphere, that uncomfortable tingle at the back of their neck, that inexplicable dread that wakes them up at 3 in the morning. They don't know why yet. They can't put their finger on it. But somewhere deep in their lizard brain, in that primitive part of consciousness that recognizes predators, they sense it. Something changed. Something moved in the darkness. Something they thought was dead just opened its eyes. And when they finally realize what's happening, when they finally understand that their 5-year celebration was actually your 5-year preparation, the look on their faces, that's going to be the appetizer before the main course. You want to know what real power looks like? It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need validation. It doesn't require an audience. Real power operates in silence, moves in shadows, builds in the dark until the structure is so massive that when the lights turn on, everyone's already standing inside it, wondering how the walls appeared overnight. That's what you've been doing for 5 years, constructing an empire of psychological advantage while they were busy posting selfies and collecting likes like starving birds fighting over crumbs. They were playing checkers on their phones. You were playing chess in dimensions they don't even know exist. Let's talk about what you really did during those 5 years, because this is where it gets beautiful, where the artistry of your patience reveals itself like a masterpiece. Every day, they thought you were defeated. You were actually taking notes on their behavior, their patterns, their weaknesses, their fears. You turned your pain into research, your isolation into observation, your silence into the most powerful weapon they never saw coming. While they were comfortable, you were studying comfort as a vulnerability. While they were confident, you were mapping confidence as a blind spot. While they were celebrating, you were recording every laugh for future reference. Here's what they don't teach you in their sanitized little self-help books, in their positive thinking seminars, in their forgive and forget workshops. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is absolutely nothing. Just watch, just wait, just let them think they won while you're actually setting up the board for a game they don't even know they're playing yet. You didn't react when they expected reaction. You didn't break when they pushed for breaking. You didn't fight when they wanted to fight. Instead, you did something far more terrifying. You smiled. You vanished. You let them believe their own lies while you were busy making their nightmares come true in slow motion. Every person who wronged you, every fake friend who betrayed you, every coward who abandoned you when things got hard. They all thought they got away with it, didn't they? They thought the statute of limitations expired, that time healed their crimes, that your silence meant their sins were forgiven. Wrong. So beautifully, perfectly wrong. You weren't forgiving. You were filing. You weren't forgetting. You were recording. You weren't moving on. You were moving up to a vantage point where you could see the entire battlefield and plan your strikes with surgical precision. They were living their lives thinking they escaped consequences, never realizing you were turning those 5 years into their life sentence. The beauty of your strategy, the pure genius of it, is that you weaponized time itself against them. While they got comfortable in their mediocrity, while they settled into their routines, while they built their lives on the foundation of lies they told about you, you were letting that foundation crack naturally. Inevitably, you didn't need to push. You didn't need to attack. You just needed to wait for gravity to do what gravity does best. And now, 5 years later, their entire world is starting to tilt, to shake, to crumble. And they can't figure out why, because they forgot the most important rule. You don't build anything lasting on lies, especially lies about someone who's been watching, waiting, and preparing to remind you of the truth. Let's get into the real science of what you pulled off here, because this is where amateurs separate from masters, where revenge becomes art, where destruction becomes poetry. Psychological warfare isn't about yelling or fighting or making scenes. That's amateur hour. That's what they expected. That's what they prepared for. No. Real psychological warfare is about making someone question their own reality, making them doubt their own memories, making them wake up every day wondering if they're actually as secure as they think they are. And you've been conducting a masterclass in this for 5 straight years without them even knowing they were the students. Think about what you did to them mentally without ever saying a word. Your silence, your absence, your complete lack of reaction to their provocations. It drove them crazy in ways they'll never admit. They needed you to care. They needed you to be bothered. They needed you to give them the satisfaction of knowing they affected you. But you gave them nothing. Absolutely nothing. And that nothing ate away at them like acid dripping on stone. They kept checking, kept looking, kept searching for signs that you were hurt, that you were suffering, that their victory was real. And every time they found nothing, every time you remained unreachable, a little piece of their certainty died. Here's the part that makes your strategy brilliant beyond measure. While they were looking for you to be broken, you were actually rebuilding yourself into something they couldn't recognize, couldn't categorize, couldn't comprehend. You weren't healing the old you. You were engineering an entirely new version, a model they have no manual for, no defense against, no way to predict. They were expecting the person they hurt to come back, maybe angry, maybe sad, maybe desperate for closure. Instead, what's emerging from those 5 years is something else entirely. Something that doesn't play by their rules, doesn't speak their language, doesn't even acknowledge their reality as valid anymore. The psychological damage you've inflicted without lifting a finger, without sending a single message, without making a single move, it's already catastrophic and they don't even know it yet. See, the human mind needs closure, needs resolution, needs to know that its actions had the intended effect. By denying them that, by refusing to give them the reaction they craved, you created an open loop in their consciousness that's been running for 5 years, draining their mental resources, creating background anxiety, making them question everything. They can't close the chapter on you because you never gave them the ending they needed. They're stuck in a story where the main character disappeared and they'll never know if the monster they thought they killed is actually dead or just waiting. And here's where it gets truly sinister, truly beautiful. Every year that passed, every month you remained silent. Every day you didn't collapse like they predicted. It added weight to their unspoken fear. What if we didn't win? What if they're planning something? What if our victory was just the intermission and the real show hasn't started yet? Those questions, those doubts, those fears, they've been compounding in their minds like interest on a debt they don't even know they owe yet. And now, after 5 years of accumulation, that debt is about to come due with interest rates they never calculated. You didn't destroy them quickly. You didn't destroy them loudly. You destroyed them slowly, silently, so thoroughly that by the time they realize what happened, there won't be anything left to save. Now, let's talk about what those 5 years did to you. The real transformation, the evolution they couldn't see, couldn't stop, couldn't prevent. While they were busy celebrating their hollow victory, you were in your own private laboratory conducting experiments on yourself, breaking yourself down to base components and rebuilding from scratch. Every tear you cried in private, every night you spent alone, every moment of pain they caused you, you didn't waste a single one. You converted every emotion into fuel, every betrayal into lesson, every wound into armor. They thought they broke you, but they actually just removed everything that was holding you back from becoming this. The person they hurt 5 years ago, that version of you, consider them dead, buried, gone forever. But here's the thing about destruction, about being torn apart, about being reduced to nothing. When you rebuild from absolute zero, you get to choose every single piece that goes back in. You get to decide what stays, what goes, what gets upgraded, what gets weaponized. And you didn't rebuild a person. You engineered a force, a phenomenon, a walking psychological event that rewrites reality just by existing in a space. The old you had weaknesses they could exploit, emotions they could manipulate, hopes they could crush. This version, this thing you've become, it has none of those vulnerabilities because you burned them all out like tumors. Let me break down the anatomy of your transformation because this is where the poetry meets the science. Year 1, you were in survival mode, just trying to process what happened, trying to understand how people you trusted could betray you so completely. That was your research phase, your data collection phase, where every emotion was documented, every pattern was noted, every lesson was recorded. Year 2, you were in analysis mode, taking all that data and starting to see the bigger picture, the systems, the psychology, the predictable nature of human weakness. That was your strategic planning phase, where you started to map out not revenge, but evolution. Year 3, you were in reconstruction mode, actively building the new version, testing theories, experimenting with different approaches, discovering what worked and what didn't. That was your prototype phase where you started to feel the power building. Year 4, you were in refinement mode, taking everything you learned and polishing it, sharpening it, making it precise, making it deadly. That was your beta testing phase, where you started to interact with the world as your new self and saw how reality bent around you differently now. And year 5 was your launch preparation, the final calibrations, the last adjustments, the moment before deployment where you stood back and looked at what you built and smiled because you absolutely knew that what they were about to experience was going to rewrite their understanding of consequences. 5 years, 5 stages, 5 levels of transformation that turned victim into something they don't have words for yet. And here's what makes your transformation so terrifying to anyone who actually understands what happened. You didn't change to please anyone. You didn't evolve to fit in. You didn't grow to be acceptable. You transformed specifically to be incomprehensible to the people who hurt you, to operate on frequencies they can't detect, to think in patterns they can't follow, to exist in ways they can't counter. You're not playing their game anymore. You're not even on their board. You created an entirely new game with entirely new rules, and they don't even know they're already losing because they're still trying to play chess while you're out here warping reality itself. The transformation isn't complete yet. It's ongoing. It's accelerating. And every day you're becoming more of something they'll spend the rest of their lives trying to explain to therapists who won't believe them. And now we arrive at the moment they never thought would come. The moment you've been preparing for with the patience of centuries compressed into 5 years. Dinner's ready, the table's set, and every single person who celebrated your downfall is about to be served a meal they'll never forget, never digest, never recover from. But here's the beauty of your approach. The absolute artistic perfection of it. You're not going to attack. You're not going to fight. You're not going to do anything aggressive or obvious. You're simply going to exist, to be, to show up as the thing you've become, and watch them crumble under the weight of their own guilt and fear. The first bite of their karma meal is recognition. They're going to see you, the new you, the evolved you, the transformed you, and something's going to break in their brain. They're going to try to reconcile the person they thought they destroyed with the force standing in front of them. and the math won't work, the equation won't balance, the reality won't compute. That moment of cognitive dissonance, that split second where their mind shorts out trying to process the impossible, that's going to hurt them in ways physical violence never could. Because in that moment, they'll realize they didn't win, they didn't beat you, they didn't break you. They just gave you 5 years of uninterrupted time to become their worst nightmare. The second bite is regret. Deep, crushing, suffocating regret that's going to sit on their chest like a stone every single night for the rest of their lives. They're going to replay every moment, every choice, every word, every betrayal. And they're going to see it differently now. What looked like victory then is going to look like the biggest mistake of their lives now. What felt like power then is going to taste like poison now. They're going to wish, desperately wish, that they could go back and make different choices, treat you differently, see your value before it was too late. But time, beautiful, merciless time, doesn't run backward, and the you they could have had beside them is dead, replaced by the you they'll never reach again. The third bite is fear. Primal, instinctive fear that comes from realizing you're in the presence of something operating on a level you can't comprehend. They're going to watch you move through the world, watch you handle situations, watch you interact with people, and they're going to see the difference. The ease, the confidence, the unshakable presence, the way reality seems to bend slightly around you now, and they're going to know deep in their gut that whatever you've become in those 5 years, it's so far beyond them that comparison becomes meaningless. They're going to fear what you might do, but more than that, they're going to fear what you don't need to do because your mere existence is already reshaping their world. The fourth bite is loss. Profound, irreversible loss. They're going to realize what they gave up, what they threw away, what they destroyed when they decided you were expendable. They had access to something rare, something real, something powerful, and they treated it like garbage because they were too blind, too stupid, too small to recognize value when it was standing right in front of them. And now they're going to spend years watching that value from a distance, watching you thrive without them, watching you build empires they'll never enter, watching you become legendary while they remain ordinary. The loss isn't just losing you, it's losing the possibility of who they could have become with you beside them instead of against them. And the final bite, the one that's going to stick in their throat forever, is irrelevance. They're going to discover that you don't think about them anymore, don't care about them anymore, don't even register their existence as significant enough to warrant attention. They spent 5 years thinking about you, talking about you, defining themselves by their victory over you. And you spent 5 years forgetting they even existed while building something so magnificent that they're not even background noise in your story anymore. They wanted to matter, wanted to be important, wanted to be the villain in your hero story. Instead, they're not even a footnote. They're not even a mention. They're just obstacles you stepped over on your way to somewhere they'll never reach. And that irrelevance is going to eat them alive more than any revenge ever could. Ah, the imitators, the shadows, the ones who watch you, study you, dissect every little move like surgeons with shaking hands, and then, Oh, here comes the fun part. They think they can become you. Adorable, isn't it? Watching a puppet try to pull its own strings. They mimic your words, your walk, your fire. But there's a problem. They're missing something. Something they can never steal. You. See, they think they can copy the how without ever understanding the why. They think it's just a game of patterns and repetition. If they wear your skin, they'll inherit your soul. If they walk your path, they'll reach your throne. But here's the thing, darling. Ghosts don't wear crowns, and they are nothing but empty echoes. Oh, but don't you love it? The desperation, the sheer hunger in their eyes as they reach, as they scrape, as they pretend. They watch you like starving dogs, waiting for scraps of your essence to fall so they can devour it. Yet they never taste what makes you real. Because you bled for this, you suffered for this. They don't see the nights you drowned in silence, the moments you were ready to let the darkness take you. They don't hear the screams you swallowed just to keep standing. They want the fire, but they weren't there when you burned for it. They weren't there when you clawed your way out of the abyss, grinning through the pain, daring the world to throw one more punch. They want the throne, but not the war. They want the legend, but not the scars. And that is why they will never be you. They steal your words, your moves, your very essence, but all they create is a hollow echo, a shadow pretending it's the man who cast it. They think if they copy enough, if they mirror every detail just right, the world will mistake them for the original. But shadows don't make noise, and echoes, they fade. Oh, but watch them, so desperate, so hungry. They trace your footprints, hoping to find your destination. But they forget one thing. Those steps, they were carved through fire. Through suffering, through nights that broke you just to remake you. And them, they want the reward without the war, the throne without the blood. They smile in your face, nod along, whisper admiration, but behind closed doors they strip you for parts. They take what you bled for, slap their name on it and call it their own. A masterpiece? No, just a cheap forgery, a knockoff that crumbles under the weight of real experience. Because, my dear, imitation is flattery only when it's harmless. But when it's theft, that's where we have a problem. They'll never understand the cost of what they're trying to steal. The sleepless nights, the failures, the scars that turned soft flesh into iron. They take the end result but skip the suffering. That's why it'll never be theirs. That's why, no matter how much they copy, it will always feel hollow. And you sit back and watch, don't you? Feeling the sting, feeling the rage as they parade around in your skin, taking credit for battles they never fought. Oh, but here's the fun part. They have no idea they're playing a losing game. Because being you, that's not an act, it's not a trick, it's a life sentence. And they don't have the stomach for it. So, let them try. Let them steal. Let them mimic every move like little puppets on tangled strings. Because when the time comes, when the fire gets too hot, when the weight of your legacy crushes them under its truth, they'll do what all fakes do. They'll break. Oh, they want the throne, all right, but not the war. They want the legend, but none of the pain that forged it. They watch from the sidelines, licking their lips, waiting for their turn to wear the crown. But they forget, crowns aren't given, they're taken, earned, paid for in a currency of suffering, and trust me, they don't have enough in the bank. They want the respect, the power, the glory, but not the nights you spent alone breaking yourself apart just to put the pieces back together. They don't want the weight of doubt crushing their chest at 3 a.m., the taste of failure thick on their tongue, the cold realization that no one is coming to save them. No, no, no. They want the story without the scars, the victory without the battlefield. But here's the truth, my dear. Pain is the toll you pay to become something real. And they avoid it like cowards hiding in the dark, hoping to stumble upon greatness without bleeding for it. They think they can copy the destination without taking the journey. But a man who never walked through the fire will always crumble when the heat rises. Ah, but you know the fire. It kissed your skin, burned your soul. It left you screaming in the abyss, only for you to claw your way back up with nothing but raw will and broken bones. And that is what separates you from them. That is why they'll never be you. Because you didn't just survive the pain, you became it. Molded into armor, sharpened it into a blade. They think the battle is won with words, with stolen ideas, with empty gestures of imitation, but war is won in the trenches of suffering, where only the strongest crawl out alive. They won't last there. They don't have the stomach for the fight. Because when the walls start closing in, when the pressure crushes them from all sides, they'll do what all frauds do. They'll run. They don't get it. They think copying your moves, your words, your fire makes them you. But fire isn't just for show. It consumes, it devours. And when the flames rise, when the air turns thick with smoke and the world starts melting around them, the counterfeit always cracks. Because imitation is just a mask, a cheap plastic disguise held together with fragile glue. And when the storm rages, when the weight of the world presses down, that glue unravels. Their voices tremble, their hands shake, their knees buckle under the pressure. Because they never built themselves. They only borrowed from you. And when the moment of truth arrives, borrowed strength will always fail. See, they only wanted the rewards, the admiration, the respect, the illusion of power, but they never wanted the price that came with it. They never wanted to taste their own blood, to feel their ribs crack under the weight of failure, to hear their own mind whisper, "Give up. It's easier." No, they only wanted the end result. And that's why they'll never make it. Because real strength is forged in the dark. In the nights where sleep is a myth and every breath feels like a battle. In the moments where the world turns its back and you stand alone, fists clenched, refusing to fall. That's where the real ones are made. Not in mimicry, not in pretense, but in pain, in resilience, in the kind of suffering that turns men into legend. But them, oh, they don't have the stomach for it. The first real hit, the first taste of loss, and they'll fold like paper in the rain. They'll scatter like ashes in the wind, desperate to find someone else to copy, another shadow to cling to, because they were never real to begin with, just echoes. And ghosts don't leave scars. They don't make history. They don't survive. They drape themselves in your style like it's some fancy coat, slipping it on, parading around like they earned it, like they lived it. But a coat is just fabric, and when the storm comes, fabric tears. You don't wear this. You are this. It's in your skin, your bones, your blood. And blood, oh, that's something they don't have the stomach for. They want the image, the scars, the mystique, the power, but not the suffering that built it. They think they can copy the war without marching through the battlefield, that they can borrow greatness like a cheap prop from some second-rate stage play. But what happens when the lights go out, when the script runs dry, when the world stops clapping and they're left standing in the silence? They'll panic, because they don't know this life. They don't know the nights when you stared at the ceiling, drowning in your own demons. They don't know the hunger, the heartbreak, the quiet rage that clawed its way into your soul and refused to let go. You bled for this. You suffered for this. You built this from the ashes of everything that tried to destroy you. And that's the difference. They can copy the surface, but they can't replicate the depth, because depth comes from pain, from sacrifice, from standing in the fire long after the fakes have fled, letting it carve you into something more, something real. And the best part? When they try to stand next to you, when they try to match your presence, your essence, your weight, oh, the difference will be blinding, because they'll feel it even if they don't understand it, that gap, that void between imitation and truth, and it'll eat them alive. There's a reason the world stops when you enter, a shift in the air, a tension in the room. Eyes lock onto you, not because you demand it, but because you don't have to. That's the power of the original, the weight of something real. And then there's them, the knockoffs. They try to strut in with your walk, wear your style, speak in echoes of your voice, but the moment they step forward, nothing. No heads turn, no pulses quicken, because the world doesn't feel them. They're just noise, static in the background. See, authenticity isn't something you put on. It's something you radiate. It's the raw energy in your stare, the unshaken confidence in your stride. It's the truth behind your madness. And the truth, it sticks. It scars. Imitation, it's a flickering bulb. It flashes, it buzzes, it tries so desperately to shine, but it's weak, it's temporary, and when the real storm comes, it burns out. Meanwhile, you're the lightning, blinding, undeniable, and when you strike, the whole world remembers. That's why they fear you. That's why they copy you. But deep down, they know the truth. They'll never be you, because you didn't borrow your presence, you built it. You bled for it, and no matter how hard they try, they'll always be chasing your shadow. They run after you, tripping over themselves, desperate to keep up, eyes locked on your every move, waiting, hoping for a clue, a crack, a moment where they can slip into your skin and steal your magic. But here's the fun part. You don't leave footprints. No trail, no map, just chaos in your wake. That's why they'll always be behind. Because while they copy what you were, you've already become something new. While they rehearse your old lines, you're rewriting the whole damn script. You don't chase trends, you make them. And by the time they figure out where you were, you're already light years ahead. They think they're in the same race as you. Cute. They don't realize you're not running in circles. You're ascending. And there's no ladder high enough for them to follow. They weren't built for the altitude. No oxygen up here for the weak. No safety nets for the fakes. Just cold, thin air. And you, standing at the peak, watching them choke on your dust. Let them study you. Let them mimic your style, your words, your movements, it doesn't matter. Because the moment they think they've caught up, you change the game. You switch direction. You vanish into the unknown, leaving them scrambling, lost and confused. They want to be you. They can't even find you because you're not just ahead of them, you're beyond them. And the more they chase, the more they realize they were never even close. They see the glory, the applause, the masterpiece you've become, and they want it. Oh, how they ache for it. They reach for the crown like greedy little children, fingers twitching, eyes burning with jealousy. But here's the catch. They want the prize, not the price. Because they weren't there when you were bleeding for this. They didn't feel the nights where the walls closed in, the silence screaming louder than any crowd ever could. They weren't there when failure wrapped its hands around your throat, whispering, "Stay down." They didn't taste the bitterness of betrayal, the exhaustion of pushing forward when every bone in your body begged you to quit. They think success is just handed out, a souvenir, a decoration. But you know better, don't you? You earned this. Every scar, every sleepless night, every shattered moment. You paid for this in a currency they'll never understand. They want to be at the top, but they would have crumbled at the bottom. They want the respect, but they couldn't handle the ridicule. They want the power, but they couldn't survive the suffering that forged it. Because greatness isn't given, it's extracted from your soul, from your sanity, from the darkest depths of your mind where most people are too afraid to go. And that's why they'll never be you. Because they want the light, but they could never survive your darkness. They want the victory, but they would have drowned in the war. They admire the final masterpiece, but would never survive the brushstrokes of your chaos. And in the end, when the game is over, when the masks crack and fall to the floor like shattered illusions, they'll stand there, trembling, staring into the abyss of their own reflection, and what will they see? Nothing. Hollow shell, a cheap imitation, a ghost of something they could never truly become. They spent their days copying your steps, rehearsing your words, stealing your fire like petty thieves in the night. But fire isn't borrowed. It's born. It rages inside you because you built it, because you fed it with every ounce of your suffering, your madness, your relentless will to rise when the world wanted you buried. You see, imitation is a mask, and masks get heavy. Eventually they slip, and when they do, that's when the truth sinks in, the moment of reckoning, when they finally realize they were chasing a ghost, a shadow, and no matter how hard they tried, no matter how desperately they reached, they were always behind you. Because you are one of one, a blueprint that was burned the second you were made. They wanted to steal your throne, but they never even earned their place in the war. They thought they could be you, but they never had the guts to become you. And that's the final blow, isn't it? The moment they break. The moment they stand in front of that mirror and whisper the truth they spent their whole life running from. I was never them. I never could be. And as their world shatters, you laugh. Because you knew this was how it would end. They were never you, and they never will be. Let them copy, let them mimic, let them stitch together a patchwork version of you, a fragile illusion held together with stolen words and borrowed fire. Let them try, because that's all they'll ever do. Try, while they chase your shadow, you you become something else, something new, something they'll never see coming. They think they can trap lightning in a bottle. They think they can catch you, match you, outshine you. Ha, how cute. But here's the joke. By the time they think they've cracked your code, you've already rewritten it. You move like a phantom, always 3 steps ahead, always shifting, always evolving. And then they're stuck in yesterday, mimicking a version of you that doesn't even exist anymore. That's the real trick, isn't it? They think they know you. They study you, dissect you, obsess over your every move, but they never understand you. Because what makes you you isn't something they can steal. It's the scars, the suffering, the battles you fought in the dark when no one was watching. It's the madness, the hunger, the fire in your bones that can't be faked. They want the crown, but not the weight that comes with it. They want the glory, but none of the wounds that built it. And that's why you win. Not because you're faster, not because you're stronger, but because you're real. Because when the storm comes, when the world turns black and the pressure crushes down, you endure, you rise, and them, they shatter, they break. Because imitation can't survive the fire, only the original does. So let them watch, let them scramble, let them twist and turn, let them burn themselves out trying to keep up. And when the dust settles, when their illusions crumble and the truth is all that's left, oh, that's when you smile. That's when you stand tall, untouched, unshaken, untouchable. Because in the end, my dear, you were never in competition with them. They were in competition with you, and they never even stood a chance. And now you get to do the one thing they'll never be able to fake, never be able to copy, never be able to steal. You get to throw your head back and laugh.